Earlier this year, we walked you through the many new rules that the USGA and R&A have proposed to bring to the game by 2019. There were some odd ones to be sure, such as dropping a ball from as near as 1 inch off the ground instead of shoulder height, and some obvious and understandable ones, like removing the penalty for accidental ball movement on the green. While a few of these proposals are giving golf purists some sleepless nights, there may be no bigger change to the game at the top level than the possible allowance of distance measuring devices, commonly referred to as rangefinders or lasers. The PGA Tour, thinking lasers might speed up play, decided it was time to conduct a thorough investigation on the matter, and thus made them legal by local rule in several events on the PGA Tour Latino America, Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada, and Web.com Tour this year. It's a reasonable enough experiment, given the somewhat archaic nature of how tour pros currently calculate yardage. Just think about these steps. 1. Find a marked sprinkler head close to their ball. 2. Walk off the distance between the sprinkler head and their ball. 3. Calculate distances to a variety of targets, front of green, back of green, pin location, even what it takes to fly a greenside bunker, using, wait for it, pencil and paper. Factor in wind, lie, and the situation at hand. And finally, consult and confirm the math with their caddy, who would have done the exact same thing. Ultimately, this process takes anywhere from 30 to 90 seconds, probably much longer for some of the tour's notorious slowpokes. And since tour stars do this upwards of 40 times per round, it's adding at least 30 minutes to the length of their game. So it's understandable then why some players support their use.
Every round of golf I play, apart from Thursday through Sunday, I use one or my caddy uses one, so it's, I don't really see the problem with it.
I'm all for it. I think it would speed up play a little bit. Some of the times when you have different angles into different pins, there's always some guesswork. We're always, depending on angle, taking off a couple yards or adding a couple yards here or there, so I think it'll speed up play a little bit and definitely be a little more accurate.
I think anything to speed up play. I think you got to be careful of getting guys who are shooting every lip of every bunker and every tree there is, and I don't see a huge advantage of it because it doesn't take that long to walk the numbers off. I'm sure whatever they decide is going to be the best for the tour, it usually is.
However, not everyone is on board. In fact, there is a large contingent of players who believe the allowance of rangefinders would have the exact opposite effect. They believe that while there are certain situations in which they would come in handy, lasers would in fact add time to a player's pre-shot routine.
I don't know if it'll help. I mean, I think the only time it'll help as far as speeding up play is if, you hit a fairway over, or you're way in the trees and you can zap the pin or hit the bunker. But I think most guys will still use their books and their cover yardage because you can't get an exact, you can maybe hit the top of the bunker, but there might be 6 paces past the bunker that you still have to cover. So you can't really get exact numbers that way. And most guys like a front number or a cover number over a bunker, flag, and then back edge. And you can't get all those with a laser anyway. So in my opinion, I don't know if it'll help.
When guys hit the ball way offline, it'll help them play quicker because they can just shoot the number. But when guys are right down the middle of the fairway, they're still going to, walk off their numbers and get their carry numbers, and they'll shoot the flag, but that'll just be another thing in their process that they're doing before they hit the shot.
And speaking of yardage books, one veteran we spoke to raised a very astute point about these trial runs that took place in golf's minor leagues.
What I see happening in the PGA Tour setting, when we have yardage books that have a lot of detail, we have greens books that have a lot of topographic detail, I see players continuing to look at all those pieces of information first while also shooting the flag for the location and the distance to the hole. And I think the danger is going to be that on the lower tours, where the information about the golf courses isn't quite as detailed, it might show a quicker pace of play in those events, but without the level of detail, I think the information on the test is going to be bad.
Ultimately, the PGA Tour deserves credit for this experimentation. Pace of play is a big problem in professional golf, and there's always been a debate about whether rangefinders would help fix that. The Tour has at least put aside its objection to the optics of rangefinder use in the name of research. In the meantime, there might be a much simpler solution when it comes to those turtle-like tour pros.
If we're going off of a pace of play, you just need harsher penalties for pace of play. Whether it's a stroke or, you know, a bigger fine, then you might have some guys, you know, with a little more firecracker in their butt.
PGA Tour will collect the pace of play data generated by these trial runs at the end of the year and discuss its findings with its player advisory board in various circuits. Armed with that information, it'll then take the next steps in zeroing in on their target of improving pace of play, whether that means allowing rangefinders for good or not at all.